So again, $8.90 or multiples thereof for the next. Ooh, must be coming up on 10 minutes now.
Yikes.
Yeah. So, Ken, I do have a question here from Chaos of 99, who asks, please ask Ken Value-Added Steacy if he has seen the animated Japanese film Look Back or read the manga it is based on. It is a story about comic artists, and I found it deeply touching.
Look
Back.
Look Back by...
I don't know.
Because
or I'm sure chat will
yeah,
get there
there
before
was
I do.
one that I read about a young guy who becomes a mangaka, and you're right, it is a very deeply moving story. Came out about, I guess, about 10...
the manga is by Tatsuki Fujimoto.
If it's the one I'm thinking of, then yes, it was in black and white, and sorry, I'm looking at, people keep taking clips off the feed and then
just send the gifs back.
Yeah. I haven't seen the anime, but
it's the same author of Chainsaw Man, right?
Yeah. Oh, okay, then this is a different one then. Yeah. No, that's one of the things that when Joan and I had the program in comics and graphic novels at Camosun, so many students and now of course so many professionals and semi-professionals, what have you. The kind of stories I want to do are very, very much from the heart, and graphic memoirs are a thing. I just read Craig Thompson's Ginseng Roots, which is this magnificent work that he did over the course of 10 years about growing up very poor, and his parents were kind of tenant farmers. And I learned so much, like the fact that like so much of the world's ginseng is grown in farms in the middle of America, and how incredibly difficult it is to grow ginseng. But he goes into all the cultural heritage, like going way back. So fascinating stuff.
Cool.
People often say, well, I'm not very interesting, and so on. It's like, no, everybody is interesting. Everybody has a story. I guess in so many ways, it's just like how do you tell it, whether it's in comics or in song or, what have you. But what moves me and touches me is the fact that people are willing to tell their stories, to share their stories, and, thereby build community. So, yeah. What I love about comics is it is the most democratic art. You just need paper, a pencil, and an internet connection, and you can tell any kind of story you want. I look at movies that they spent $1 billion on, and I think, wow, that was a waste of time and effort. And then I look at these beautiful comics that somebody sat down with a piece of paper and a pen and broke my heart or filled me with joy or what have you. And the nice thing too, of course, is there's no one. I grew up wanting to draw, superheroes. I got that out of my system pretty quick. And one of the reasons being that, it's fun to play in someone else's sandbox, but someone else has their hand on your wrist, and they're saying, this is what you can draw, this is what you can say, and this is what you can't draw and can't say. When you're doing your own work, it's like there's nobody there, and you can just, let it flow. So I encourage anybody out there, please, just keep doing what you do, and do share it.
Nice. Ken, question here from someone who...
This thing's really heavy. Don't you ever like one of those ones that goes over your ear?
The Britney style?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly. Then I could wear a wig.
We do have that. If you'd like wigs, we have wigs.
Why didn't you tell me when I first got here? I mean, yeah, I wear my hair really short now because it hides my male pattern baldness, my MPB.
A question here for you, Ken.
Yes.
Speaking of being here at Desert Bus, this is from someone who met you at Supernova Brisbane. Said it was really fun that we happened to be wearing the same Desert Bus shirt.
Yes. Oh, hi. I have a picture. I'm sorry I didn't bring it along. It was amazing. It was one of those astonishing cosmic coincidences that we were both wearing, not only wearing Desert Bus t-shirts, but the same Desert Bus t-shirt. So yeah, big shout out.
And they were wondering were there other people who came up to you that weekend and were like, oh hey, from Desert Bus?
There were a few, and anybody who comes up to me and says they're from Desert Bus gets a free print.
Ooh.
So okay, oops. Every show I go to from now on, I say, hi, I'm from a Desert Bus or something.
Print
Yeah.
Can you make it the inscription to eBay?
But you have to be wearing a t-shirt. There you go. That'll be the qualifier.
Perfect. Question from Rebellious Uno. If you could draw a cover for any comic, What would you
Oh,
want to
we
illustrate?
know the answer to this.
Oh.
Every year on
Archie.
Desert Bus. Bingo.
Archie.
I thought that was just
Bingo.
which one you
You
haven't.
haven't drawn it yet.
I
that
haven't
was
drawn
what
it
you
yet.
hadn't worked with.
I
Okay.
still want
Okay,
to.
okay. Let's take this a step further. On the heels of your incredibly successful revitalization of the Archie brand, now you have your pick of everyone who is asking to work with
Ah. Oh, who would I like to
Yeah,
collaborate with?
Oh.
Oh my gosh. Living or dead?
It'd be a lot easier to work with them if they're alive.
you. Well,
Yeah,
I was
that's
going to
true.
say the Archie cover was so successful that several people have come back to life.
Oh, okay. Then in that case, my hero and the person who really got me into comics, I suppose, in so many ways, was Jack Kirby, who essentially created the Marvel Universe. This is a big controversy, and certainly Jack was not very well treated by Marvel Comics.
2 minutes left on the giveaway. Get your stuff in.
Yes, but it was Jim Steranko, another great author, illustrator, who was a big influence on me, put it nicely when he said the Marvel Universe was created by Stan Lee, aided and abetted by Jack Kirby, Steve Ditko, Jim Steranko, like all these people. It was a very creative collaboration. And as far as I'm concerned, it would not have happened without the synergy that happened between all those people. I did ink and color an illustration by Jack Kirby one time. That was great fun. I've already worked with Margaret Atwood, which was spectacular. And without saying any more at all, there may be something else in the works for next year.
A question then, so that we don't have to try and get more information out of you there. A question from Elmira while we're waiting for the last moments of the giveaway to conclude. Can Ken talk about the change that you've seen in the workflow of comics art as technology has evolved over your career?
Are we going to talk about GAI?
I mean, we could if you want.
No, I don't want.
Okay, good.
Because I'll bust a blood vessel. If I
Oh,
get-
don't worry. We've been very clear about all of our art challenges this year that we aren't even going to look at it. If you can't be bothered to draw it, why would we look at it?
Good. At Fan Expo this past summer, Bell Canada, who's one of the sponsors, actually had a booth, and they said, "Come on in. We'll take a photograph of you, and then we'll crank out a cartoon of you."
At Fan Expo?
At Fan Expo.
Oh.
So
Wow,
a bunch
tone deaf.
of the artists went and protested, and it got vociferous enough to the point where the cops were called. And fortunately, one of the artists was able to act as interlocutor or whatever and calm things down. So Bell, of course, in full damage control mode, said, the GI we used was actually trained on artists that we hired and paid. So it wasn't like we were like scraping the internet and ripping
I don't
people off.
believe that.
Of course, like no one believed that at all. Could you tell us who they are and could we talk to them? Well, no. Trust
No,
us.
because the data set required, like, you just...
I know. It was absolute nonsense, and as Graham said, like as tone deaf as you could possibly get. So anyway, I don't think it's unstoppable. Corporations being what they are, like pathological, they were about the bottom line, and so if they can get somebody's nephew to punch in something to Chat GPT and make a cartoon instead of hiring me or you or anybody out there, they're going to do it. Which to me means we all have to work a lot harder to be getting our work out there and building that community and supporting each other that way, because it is a tidal wave. And and I don't want to be running around like the little boy with the finger in the dike, like trying to stop it. I'm just going to keep doing what I do, and hope that support will always be there. I think it will, and I think eventually, what will happen is people will be sick to death of looking at ghastly, plastically fake, ugh.
People like this warms the cockles of my heart. Is that we were watching Graham, just to wind down. Graham was watching an unrelated streamer, an Elden Ring streamer, and their chat was just like "Bleh, AI, yuck, don't like it. Nobody wants it. So remember, nobody likes it and wants it, except for the corporations who just
Except for
want
the
to pay less
corporations.
money.
So to sort of bounce off, go back to a bit to the original question about the changes in workflow.
Oh yeah.
How, because when you were describing your art process, you use a lot of going back and forth between digital and physical and printing stuff off and scanning it in. When did you start using that kind of technology in your art? Have you been using it for a long time, or is it more recent, or?
Good question. And I say that ironically because I always hate it when somebody's me interviewing and they say, good question. Because they don't think, one of them going to say, that's a terrible question. No, but that is a good question.
Skylar Ringtail, thank you.
I used to think that computers were a tool of the devil and they were going to take art away, work away from honest artists and so on. Until I finally started using them, which had been back in the early 90s, I guess. I'm that old. And realized that they're just a tool. Because people say, oh, look what the computer can do. It's so cool. And I would just sit back from the keyboard and go, yeah, watch this. And of course nothing happens. And you say, oh, okay, I've got it. It's how you use it. So the point I'm trying to make, especially with young people and students and so on, is that nothing, they can simulate all the experience of using traditional tools, but nothing will ever replace the visceral feedback you get from dragging a brush loaded with pigment across a coarse surface. There is a joy that goes from your hand into your heart. It goes from your brain into your hand into your heart, and that will never, ever, ever change. You can fake it, whatever. Also, you may have noticed that the original art market for comics, for certain people, is skyrocketing. When you do stuff digitally, you have intellectual property, you have a file, you can share it, and it's relatively easy, but you don't have anything physical. And I still make a substantial, in fact, increasingly, because I do a lot of commissions. Free, nice segue there. Hi, anybody wants a commission? Give me a show. From doing commissions, and that's what people want, because when you go to a convention, commission an artist, and I also encourage you to do that. Is you become part of the creative process, because you're the one who's saying, I would like a drawing of Astro Boy doing, what have you, or I'm involved in, I love baseball, so do me drawing of Astro Boy playing baseball on this team, right? So there's this wonderful feedback loop that happens when you commission an artist to do a piece of work. So yeah, it is just a tool, and as you can see, there are reasons for using it. They're very practical reasons, but for the most part, I absolutely prefer working traditionally whenever possible.
I saw someone in chat mention it. It's just scrolled off, but in Magic the Gathering artists, I know that for some years there was a big surge in digital art, and that has started to subside as the artists have realized that because they keep their originals. And if they're doing digital, then they don't have one, and that there's a big market, a very lucrative market for the originals of Magic the Gathering cards, and many of them have reverted to doing physical so that they have a thing that they can sell for a few $1,000s.
Bingo. Yeah. Also, I encourage you all to go to the local art gallery. There's one of the wonderful things when I was in Australia, the art galleries and museums are all free. I spent a lot of time just wallowing in spectacular art. The one in Brisbane had a show of Australian art from the 30s. And, I mean, we are so, in many ways, North America-centric, like the art that we love in comics and, what have you, is, by American artists, Canadian artists, and so on, and some European artists. Then you go to Australia and you find out that they're making astonishing work as well, that sadly didn't get off the continent for whatever reason. Because I discovered, at least a dozen artists who were just jaw-dropping and sort of stood there oh my God, I give up. It's just amazing stuff. And when you do that, at first you think, okay, I quit, I couldn't possibly. And then that wears off really quickly. You go, I could do that. Or I want to try to do that. And it inspires you. I mean, you look at a beautiful painting and there's all this texture and you think, oh, how did they get that texture? And I want to go home and just gesso up a canvas and slap paint on it and just have fun. So yeah. What was the question? It's a tool. It's a tool. Use it where appropriate, and then don't when it's not. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. Also, by the way, because the way things are, two things. One, publishers all want it. You have to deliver the stuff digitally, so you at least have to be able to format, scan, format, and so on. But also the fact that you need to be able to connect the internet, so you create this wonderful global audience. I mean, when I got in the business, it was. Fandom existed through the mail. I mean, there were these things called APAs, the Amateur Press Association, where you would have a dozen or more people who every month would do like 2 or 3 pages of a comic or an article or a review or something, they would mail them to the central mailer, who would print them off and then staple them together. You get these things the size of a catalog or a phone book, and then they'd be sent out to everybody. So everybody would get this sort of custom-made fanzine, right? And then
That's so cool.
And then that morphed into, fanzines, and then later prozines and so on. So it's kind of it's a logical digital extension of that. So yeah, again, it's like I am not a Luddite by any means. I do use digital tools when necessary. Now, is this all digital? I mean, this is what I'm looking at.
Yeah, most of it.
Okay.
Yeah, this is all. This is holodeck.
Oh, I thought it was all
technology.
analog.
Except for this big thing that was made of wood.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that's I love the craftsmanship that went into that. It's beautiful. Okay, any more questions?
We've only got 3 minutes left.
I was going to say,
Ken Steacy
there was
power
one more
ups.
question about what's your favorite Pokemon.
Oh, well, Pikachu, of course.
There we go.
Oh, actually, one of the this past summer, one of the sketch challenges, me and a couple of other artists, and we throw it out the audience and say, well, what do you want us to draw? And it came back as Pikachu cosplaying as Deadpool. and I wish I had brought it with me. Actually, I could send it in and you could post it if you want, but it was like one of the best sketches I've ever done.
Terrific.